The Flame Chase journey is the main story arc of Amphorius, and its main characters are the Chrysos Heirs. 12 individuals burdened with glorious purpose to save Amphorius from complete and utter annihilation. Each of them are expected to defeat a titan, sacrifice their core flame to the matrix of Genesis, undertake the titan's trial, and then ascend into demigods. While we have met quite a few of them throughout 3.0 and 3.1, there are a few still unaccounted for. In fact, 4 of them have only been shown as silhouettes. Well, despite their air of mystery, I kinda have an idea of who these 4 might be, and 2 of them might actually surprise you. Before we discuss that in further detail, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Because this video will cover topics related to the main story, there will unsurprisingly be spoilers for the 3.0 and 3.1 Trailblazer quests. So if you haven't already cleared them, consider this your obligatory spoiler warning. As you might have already known, there are in total 12 titans that make up the pantheon of Amphorius. For each one of the titans, there is a corresponding Chrysos heir associated to them. It's not set in stone or anything, but you can sort of guess who relates to which titan based on their backstory and personal characteristics. For example, despite Finance's attempts at taking in Nikador's core flame, it's pretty obvious it would end up in the hands of Maidi, given his past, demeanor, and understanding of strife. Most other Chrysos heirs also follow this pattern. Aglaya, the demigod of Monastia, comes from a family of Monastia priests, while Castoris will likely end up as the demigod of Thanatos, given her connection to the god of death. So having great strength of will is not the only criteria, and you need to also have some understanding or past related to each of the respective titans to be a suitable candidate. Out of the 12 titans, only 8 pairings have been currently revealed, with the other 4 being basically unassigned. These 4 unassigned titans are Phagusa, Talenton, Oronix, and Georios. Despite these 4 titans having no partners yet, they are actually candidates who might fit their concepts quite well. Initially, I wanted to start this discussion with Phagusa and Talenton, as their Chrysos heirs are pretty straightforward to explain. But to make things interesting, let's actually start with the 2 that I have rather weird ideas for, Oronix and Georios. In Aglaya's grand plan, the core flame associated to Oronix was meant to only be gathered at the very end of the Flame Chase journey. This was mostly due to Oronix being generally helpful to humans, and there wasn't any real need to obtain their core flame early on. Additionally, there just wasn't any individual who could get along with Oronix, so it wasn't an issue to delay it. Of course, things don't always go according to plan, and Oronix died rather prematurely as we see in 3.1. This forces Aglaya to now search for a suitable candidate, and as it happens, Mem makes a rather interesting suggestion. Why not have the Trailblazer absorb it? Oronix already likes them, and they have a connection with Fuli, as well as the ability to already use Oronix's time miracles. In addition, the main character is a seasoned Trailblazer by this point, and with us piloting them, there's no way they would fail the trial of time. Overall, this is actually a pretty good idea, and all things considered, I do think that the main character will likely end up inheriting the core flame of time. There is one problem though. You see, the cliffhanger of the 3.1 story is that the main character is supposedly going to die in the arms of Castoris, and her personal prophecy suggests this is a permanent thing. Now, I have some ideas about what might transpire here, which I'll cover in another video, but if they do end up dying, then who then will take up the Time Titan's core flame? Where can we possibly find another suitable individual? Well, as it happens, we do have another person on the Express that might fit this role quite well. They have long been suspected to have connections with Fuli and Remembrance, and whose story is very much related to memories and the past. In fact, the answer for Oronix's riddle the first time we visit the Titan was answered using this individual's camera. I'm sure you already know who I'm talking about. That's right, it's Pom-Pom. March. Not only does she narratively fit into Oronix's overall lore, it would also be the perfect time to reintroduce March back into the story if by the end of 3.2, the Trailblazer really does kick the bucket. In addition, of the 4 silhouettes we see, 3 of them appear vaguely feminine. I'll talk about the other 2 soon enough, who are likely women as well, but the third, being March, seems to fit the silhouette we see in the trailer. So I think that regardless of whether the Trailblazer passes their trial or not, the core flame might actually end up with March. Perhaps after 3 whole patches, this is when March finally gets her 5-star glow up. The next titan we have that doesn't yet have a corresponding heir is the Titan of Earth, Georios. Among the 12 titans, Georios' contributions to humanity is second only to Kefali themselves. They are credited with not only the creation of the mountains and valleys, but also the seas and the skies. On top of that, Georios is one of the main reasons humanity on Amphorius even exists, as their body was used as a cornerstone for the creation of humans. If that wasn't enough, Georios has also gifted humanity with plenty of knowledge, teaching them agriculture and history. They did all this without expecting much in return, and even when many prayed to them in gratitude, Georios remained silent and stoic. So in general, Georios was known to be a benevolent titan who valued history and was more than willing to share such information with others. You know who else is the silent and stoic type that also has a penchant for history and sharing knowledge? Dan Heng. Before you click off in a rage, let me explain. Dan Heng is known to be the Astral Express's archivist and manages the information collected on their travels. He is the unofficial historian of the group and often provides context to other nameless about the places they visit through the archive he curates. This seems oddly similar to Georios' penchant for history and imparting wisdom to others, but the connection goes deeper than that. While I didn't mention it earlier, Georios is also known as the guardian of the mortal world, which just so happens to be similar to Dan Heng's role as the Express's guard. Finally, of the 4 silhouettes shown, the one with the flames looks kinda draconic, almost like it's a hybrid dragon of sorts. Who among the nameless happens to be a dragon? That's right, Dan Heng. So I think that March and the main character aren't the only ones who will take on the responsibility of a core flame, and our good buddy Dan Heng will likely walk the same path. This means that we might actually see all 3 of the nameless junior team get upgrades and new looks, which, theories aside, I really kinda hope happens. Now the Chrysos Heirs for the other 2 titans, Phagusa and Talenton, are far less of a stretch to explain. Let's start off with Phagusa, the titan of the oceans. The Chrysos heir associated with them is very likely to be Hysilens, whose name I'm probably butchering. But who is this unknown person? Well, Hysilens is one of the Chrysos heirs that we just haven't met yet, but has been mentioned in game. In Aglaya's character story number 3, when she speaks about other demigods, she references one of them as being associated with faint melodies echoing from the depths of the sea. So the reference to the depths here is likely talking about the depths of the ocean, but the faint melodies might also be a reference to the Titan's second title, as Phagusa is also known as the god of banquets and drunkenness. As it happens, there was also an individual shown alongside Aglaya in Tribi's trailer who is seen holding a musical instrument. While it isn't confirmed, this individual is very likely Hysilens, the Chrysos heir I suspect to be related to Phagusa. There really isn't any other clue here outside of just these 2 things, but Aglaya's words and Tribi's trailer does point at this individual being the heir to Phagusa. Last but certainly not least, we have Talenton, the Titan of Law. From what we know of Talenton, they are pretty unique as far as their behavior goes. While titans like Circes or Kefali are literally out in the open for all to see, nobody has actually seen Talenton. They act mostly in the background, ensuring laws are applied and enforced to the world of Amphorius. For all intents and purposes, Talenton seems to pursue balance and wishes to ensure that all in Amphorius experience a fair and just life. Much like their titan, the Chrysos heir related to them has also largely gone unnoticed, but perhaps is one of the first among the 12 to ascend. The Chrysos heir for Talenton is likely Cerydra. Much like Hysilens, we've not yet met Cerydra, but she has been mentioned a few times in the story. Tribi mentions that Cerydra was the one who initially united the Chrysos heirs, but also turned the prophecy into law, a clue of their connection to Talenton. She also appears in Tribi's trailer, but we only see a quick glimpse of her, and she's also spoken about in Aglaya's 3rd character story alongside Hysilens. What's interesting is that when we asked Tribi about Cerydra, she says that while she would have liked to introduce her to the main character, that opportunity is now long gone. This either means that they are dead or just physically removed from the setting, similar to how Talenton doesn't physically appear in Amphorius. Most that ascend often take on the fate of their corresponding titan, like Maidi, who continues Nikodos' mission to push back the Black Tide. As such, perhaps when Cerydra ascended, she too chose to take a back seat, operating similarly to Talenton to ensure Amphorius' laws continue to exist. Once again, this isn't confirmed yet, but from the little we know about both Hysilens and Cerydra, their information does seem to indicate they are connected to both these titans, and likely the silhouette we see in the trailer. Now, as we reach the end of this video, let me just remind you that most of these are just speculations. It could very well be that when the story actually develops, completely different people will end up taking these roles. Perhaps there are individuals yet to be introduced, or perhaps some other twist happens where no heirs are required. Either way, just take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt. With that, I'll end the video here. Who do you think are the 4 mystery Chrysos heirs? Could they be the Nameless or someone else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found the video entertaining, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day.